to look at being able to shade the region that satisfies an inequality. Now, in order to be able to do this, you need to be able to draw the equation of a line with the equation that you have been given. If you do not know how to do this, then you need to look at the vodcast called Plotting Straight Line Graphs. We're going to look at 5 different examples to see the various situations that we could be able to shade regions to satisfy inequalities. So the first one we've been given is to shade the region that satisfies the inequality x is less than 2. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw the line x equals 2. And because my inequality that I have got is just a less than and does not include an equal sign as well, I'm going to use a dashed line. I'm going to draw in x equals 2 using a dashed line. Then what I need to do is decide which side of the line works for the inequality. So if I want the values where x is less than 2, that's everything that's going to be on the left-hand side of the line I've just drawn. And so that's the side we would need to shade. The second example, we need to shade the region that satisfies the inequality y is greater than or equal to 5. So I'm going to start off by drawing the line y equals 5. This time, because I've got the equals 2 as well in my inequality, I'm going to use a solid line rather than a dashed line. And to work out which side I need to shade all the values where y is greater than 5. So in this case, it's going to be everything above the line. Right, this time I'm going to shade the region that satisfies the inequality y is greater than 2x take away 3. So I'm going to draw the line y equals 2x take away 3. And because it's just a greater than, I'm going to use a dashed line in order to do that. Now what I have to do is to work out which side of my line I need to shade. So in order to do that, I'm going to pick one coordinate that I'm going to use as my test coordinate. I'm going to pick this coordinate here because both the x and the y value are positive, so I don't need to worry about using any negatives as well as my inequality stuff. So the coordinate there we've got is 4, 1. It means my x value is 4 and my y value is 1. I'm going to substitute both of these values into my inequality to see if it works. So y is 1, so I've got 1 as my y value here, and I've got my inequality symbol. Then I've got 2x. When x is 4, 2x is going to be 8, and then take away 3. If I simplify the right-hand side, I can see that we've got 1 is greater than 5. Does this work? Is 1 greater than 5? The answer is no. So this side of the line does not work for that inequality. That means it's the top of the line, above the line, that works for this inequality, that satisfies this inequality. Now we're going to look at being able to shade the region that satisfies the inequality y is less than or equal to 3x add 1. So I'm going to start off by drawing the line y equals 3x add 1. And because we've got less than and equals to, so the equals to is there as well, we're going to use a solid line in order to draw this. Right, again, we're going to work out what side of the line we need to shade. So I'm going to pick a test coordinate. This time I'm going to pick this coordinate here. So I've got 2, 1. So my x value is 2 and my y value is 1. So let's substitute those into my inequality. So my y value is 1, and then 3 lots of my x value is going to be 6, add 1. If I simplify the right-hand side, I've got 1 is less than or equal to 7. This does work which means that the side of the line that this point is on satisfies the inequality. So I can shade that in. The final example we're going to look at is when we have to shade a region that satisfies more than one inequality. So this time we've got the inequality y is less than or equal to 4, x is greater than 1, and y is greater than or equal to 2x take away 1. I'm going to look at this last inequality first, and then I'm going to fill in the gaps with the other two. So I'm going to start off by drawing the line y equals 2x take away 1. I'm going to use a solid line, because if we look at my inequality, it has the equals 2 as well, so I can use the solid line to draw that in. Right, I'm going to work out my test coordinate now. So I'm going to use this coordinate. I'm going to use 2, 1 again, because that's nice and easy. With 2 being my x value and 1 being my y value. So if I've got my inequality, substitute in my y value and also my x value. So 2 times 2 is 4, and then we take away 1. So we've got 1 is greater than or equal to 3. So no, that doesn't work. At this point, I'm not going to do any shading. I won't shade until I've got all 3 lines drawn on, but I'm going to remind myself that this point here does not satisfy the inequality. So what I might do is just draw a little arrow to remind myself it's that side of the line that satisfies the inequality. Now I'm going to do the slightly more straightforward inequalities. So I've got y is less than or equal to 4. So I'm going to use a solid line again because we've got the equal to. I'm going to draw the line y equals 4 using a solid line. Again, I'm not going to do any shading just yet because I haven't drawn on all my lines. But I need to remember that because we've got y is less than or equal to 4, I'm going to be shading below that line. The last inequality I'm going to draw on is x is greater than negative 1. So I'm going to draw on the line x equals negative 1 using a dashed line because we haven't got the equals 2 as well. Now I want the side where x is greater than negative 1. I'm going to put an arrow on to remind me that that's the side on the right hand side of this line. Now I've got to look for the region that satisfies all 3 of these inequalities, which in this case is going to be this triangle here. And that's how you can shade the region that satisfies inequalities. Now you need to make sure you read the question carefully, because it might be that they need you to leave blank the region that satisfies and you need to shade the region that doesn't satisfy. So please make sure you read the question carefully before you start doing any shading.